A big shout out and happy birthday to my brother who turns 50 years old today. Mark Pocobelli, a big hat tip to you if you happen to be watching. If not, I'll see you in Munich next week. Actually, this Friday. So big show note, no shows next week. I think I'm going to try and do one Friday morning. Artist Journal, May 16th, 2023. Broadcasting to the world from Berlin, Germany. My name is Adrian Pocobelli, and welcome back. It's just one of those things that only happens once in your life. So I'm glad my brother is coming out to Europe to visit some friends, and should be a great week. So as I like to do here, I think it's good to take breaks, frankly, for this show too. It's good for people as well as myself just to take a breather, come back to things, just like when you're making art, you know. It's good to take little breaks. I'm a bit of a workaholic, as maybe you've figured out at this point, but it really is worthwhile to take breaks. So anyways, check this out. This is Ranneksteer. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. I love this work. It really stood out, and as I was kind of putting the tabs together for this show, I just kept coming back to this work, and it just kept moving up to the front. And anyways, I just think a really interesting work that I find really hard to pinpoint. It feels familiar, but I actually don't have I'm not like, oh, this is that. I mean, at best, it's kind of has a bit of a Yves Tanguy feel to it. But it's quite different. I mean, this is, as I like to say, this is going somewhere. This is interesting. I mean, what is going on here? We have this kind of semi-abstract and semi-representational work. Here we have kind of a lot of, top right, we have a fairly three-dimensional, almost like airbrushed looking 3D sculpted thing turning into, a different, almost like a pipe turning into something else, different colors, and really kind of flattening out into more of a slightly more painterly kind of look down here. Again, it kind of has this airbrush feeling, but it's a few different things. So anyways, the prize for mystifying me is one, and over here, this kind of three-dimensional looking object. I mean, the space is interesting, right? I mean, you're wanting to create a space out of this, but it kind of resists an easy, conception of space, shall we say, a spatial representation of space, like a easily understandable space. And this is almost like, you feel like this is almost like a lag. So a very surreal abstract, which is why maybe I'm going to Tanguy. Yves Tanguy is my kind of go-to, like trying to place this. Ranneksteer, edition of 69 for a Tezos 69. Only 2 have sold. So one to Françoise Gamma. So a little bit of social proof for you there. So Françoise Gamma is digging it, and other collectors here. Kramer, shout out to both. So anyways, Ranneksteer here. And I think I brought up Ranneksteer's page. So again, I've been tracking Ranneksteer, kind of rediscovered in Haiti Roquette's collection. And of course, one of the great things of collecting NFTs is you can look at other people's collections. And I was looking in Haiti Roquette's collection a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of these, I think, down here. Another just really cool abstract. But this, you see the color change? Like, again, this seems to be being pushed further. This seems to be going somewhere. So anyways, great work, Ranneksteer. Very cool. And there are 67 left, so you are early. Tomorrow, Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3:30 in Berlin, we're going to have Daniel W. on the show, and so that is very exciting. And I'm calling it special guest Daniel W. on art and alchemy. I'm sure a lot of other things here. Excited to have Daniel W. and Runer Tuner join Rune Tune and myself on this week's Spaces. Come hang out and talk art, alchemy, and the occult. So I didn't pass that by Daniel W., this whole spiel, but I mean, a lot of Daniel W's work deals with these issues, so it should be super interesting to hear. So anyways, come check it out. Come hang out with Daniel W. and Runetoon and myself, and it should be a ton of fun. I have pinned the tweet, I think. Yes. So you can find that on the profile. So that is cool. And here's just a new work by Daniel W. If you don't know, I think most people who watch this show know, but there's always new people coming and going in a sense. So anyways, my mom, I was like, Mom, if you have feedback on the show, let me know. And she's like, well, you say so anyways quite a bit, and I had no idea. So anyways, it's great to get feedback of that kind. So I'm not going to try and you can make it a drinking game of will I say it, because it's really hard to actually stop doing. Anyway, here's a work by Daniel W. And it's, again, just for those who are unfamiliar, again, the print sort of feel to it. It's always got kind of I don't want to say oppressive space, but always kind of like, again, it's kind of occult is how I'd almost describe it. Here, it's like you can't tell if this is a mirror that's not working or an image of someone from behind in a frame. Again, it's got that CMYK color scheme, just the basic print. So interesting conceptually, and from a composition point of view is always interesting too. Fairly minimal in the way that it's approached, and everything, like it's kind of like a surrealist painting, like a Magritte almost. Everything is kind of charged with meaning, whether it's this, light socket here or light switch. Everything, the handle, everything seems charged with meaning, whether it's this bottom paneling here at the bottom of the wall. And beautiful kind of shadow here. Again, architecture in space. Again, to me, it has a Magritte. It evokes kind of a Magritte feeling. And actually, I just also want to point out this nice, almost physical looking black that's also put in here, and kind of, a few errors here and there to really give it an organic feeling. This almost looks like physical. And I'm sure this work would work as physical. So we'll ask Daniel W. tomorrow what's up. I think this was just listed. 19 are available for 3 Tezos each. So good price, an empty room. So that is coming up, and thank you for the comments, everybody, on yesterday's show. It did pretty well in terms of views in 24 hours, 239, a lot of likes on that, and just some really nice comments, helpful for artists and collectors, and I'm glad to hear that. Both. And Mick Renders also. Blah and I had a great time working together and combining our style. I think we'll definitely do something again in the future. Big Blah fan, and really happy to have gotten to do something with such talent. I love the screen printing that R4K, Random Girl 4K, has been doing. We actually put our collab together today. Another one I was geeking out about. So that's cool and fun, and just a lot of collabs going on. So thank you for the comment, and thank you Uyo66. Andre Blues, and Cruel Coppinger. So anyways, thank you, everybody. That was awesome. And thank you to Popple. So this was funny, actually. So Popple commented, and as you can see on my browser here, the Braille turns out differently. Like, let me just show you. So thank you, Pocobelli. Seems Braille patterns are not showing correctly on some browsers. So as you can see here, it looks like Popple with just the circles, but as you can see on my browser, you see it's almost like there's full circles that are white and then empty circles that are the blank space. So that seems to be the difference. I almost like this version better because it's so cryptic, which kind of fits beautifully with Popple. So either way works, but I'd say kind of a really cool happy accident. It's like it's almost like there's a halting of communication of sorts to over-interpret what's going on here. But I think that's why I like it. It's almost like there's barely anything being said, but if you really look up close, it actually will say Popple. So a happy accident, I would say. So anyways, thank you for the comment, Popple. And Popple retweeted this Artist Journal tweet here, and this is like, usually it gets like 3,000 maybe of reach. We got 8,337 for reach, and I can't help but think that was Popple retweeting that. Why do I? Right, I was just going to compare it here as well. So that's what I was showing here. So, anyways, thank you to Popple. Now, speaking of huge reach here, and I almost want to apologize for the poofy hair here. I've just come from the gym, so it always gets a little crazy on those days. Anyways, we were talking about huge reach. We saw that with Popple, which was 200,000. We saw it with someone else. Now look at Spiegel's Maskinen. Good night, everybody. 1.5 hours left of auction and 1 million views on this tweet. So let me show you. And look at how many it has. 1.2 million views on this phone booth skeleton thing. So it almost, I was starting to wonder to myself, and by the way, for those, some people say, oh, you shouldn't put the link in your feed or you should put it later. It doesn't seem to be, slowing down this tweet, having the link there. And it almost got me wondering, this huge reach we're seeing, and maybe this was happening and I just wasn't aware, but it does make me wonder, if you're working at Twitter, right, and there's the new people who've taken over Twitter, and you're trying to make that X the everything app, so you want art people to be on Twitter, maybe they start going, hey, let's actually help the art people here, and we can kind of take that, we can kind of run, like the digital artists are already basically using Twitter more than Instagram, one could arguably. So maybe we should just help these guys out a little bit. I mean, I don't know if that's true. It could be just the work itself has garnered that many views, but I just don't remember seeing this kind of reach. I mean, 1.2 million. 1.2 million. I mean, let's quickly look. I mean, we didn't see it help Popple a ton. I mean, Popple got 0.69 ETH, which was good, but for 200,000 views, you'd think maybe a little higher. It may have helped Spiegel's Maskinen, though, because 1.69 is pretty good. I think, I'm not sure how much the others went for. See this? 1.1, 0.75. So again, I mentioned it yesterday, this idea that Robness V2 mentioned that NFTs are the next rock stars, NFT artists are the next rock stars. 1.2 million, I mean, you're competing with rock stars, I suspect, with that kind of reach. So it's incredibly exciting, is how I would describe that. And if we just go, and you might be wondering, what is Spiegel's Maskinen's profile here? 13.3, I mean, I feel like I just saw, a month or two ago, he was at 10,000. So, pretty interesting. Again, it's tempting to think maybe something's going on at HQ. Who knows? Just a theory. Just a speculation. Just a hypothesis, shall we say. So anyways, congrats to Spiegel's on that. Again, I feel like the price is impressive, but the reach is starting to be almost more impressive. That is, how many contemporary artists? What kind of reach? I mean, a fair question. What kind of reach are the top contemporary artists in the world getting just in terms of their work being seen? I guess Art News, shows it. So then maybe that's a few million. I don't know, a couple of million. I don't know what their traffic is. But the plot thickens on this whole reach business. Let's see if this continues. So anyways, I gotta not say that. Kelowna Contemporary. Lots of convos about bear and bull markets. My humble advice to artists is to set aside those concerns and focus on building meaningful relationships with collectors, a strong artistic identity, and a sustainable and consistent pipeline of work with a long-term vision. And I think this is excellent advice. And so, never get too, especially in crypto. I mean, everything feels like it could vaporize, tomorrow. So it's sort of I think this is really just focus on the fundamentals, is what, work on building a business for the long term. It seems like what Michaela is saying through Kelowna Contemporary. Anyway, I thought that was just good advice worth sharing. This was also kind of interesting too. Let's actually start with Art Gnome. That looks like Hasdrubal Waffle in Art Gnome's profile here. I'm guessing. I don't know. Crypto artist who found success in 2021 for the first time, getting DMs directly from collectors and wondering why they needed a gallery. Right. Who needs a gallery anymore? Many NFT collectors have said. It's kind of still, it's not an invalid question. Many now see the role played by galleries, especially during periods when things aren't so great. And here they have We Are Unit London, which has sort of been kind of more in the contemporary side of things. So maybe they're moving into NFTs a little bit. So interesting. So appreciate the physical galleries. As I've always said here, multi-chain, multimedia, multi-platform. So multimedia being, be in physical, which means you're not, theoretically you could sell physical work and it may actually go in that direction on object and whatever. But it's great to have your work in a gallery. Again, it shows range, and it's like, okay, this guy has his, or her, has her whole NFT thing. She has her galleries lined up. It's not in a sense, you want to diversify your portfolio and your revenue streams. Because maybe to Art Gnome's point, you may be doing really well at some point with NFTs, and maybe at another point it'll be the physical, which is often there's overlap between the contemporary art collector and the NFT art collector, but it's not it's not a pure overlap. There's just a little bit, one could argue. So it's good to diversify your revenue streams and just your exposure out there. Get your art out in every way possible. And there's also, it's kind of back to this idea of there is a credibility, I would argue, that comes with being prolific. One doesn't need to be prolific to be a credible artist, but it does create credibility in the sense that if you have thousands of work out that are of a deep, good quality, that is impressive. It kind of builds its own credibility. And here's a response to this, absolutely, from Public Occurrences. NFT galleries are essential to a healthy crypto art market. As an example, Fort NFT has done a phenomenal job in curating leading artists. And yeah, Fort NFT has been around. And I guess they have maybe a physical look. So Art Wolfie from Fort Gallery, thank you for this recognition. Fort has been committed to exhibiting artists since 2007 in San Francisco, and it's truly an honor to be here now in the metaverse. So anyways, I keep saying it. So Mom was right. Anyway, we will continue here. It may be tricky. Look at this. So just to kind of continue on the contemporary art front. So here is someone, P. Azzurro, who I don't know a ton about. And they are probably an art collector NFT art collector, founder of OX Babylon, Azzurro Protocol, my galleries. So someone who's enthusiastic about digital art. Look at this. My first Kandinsky. So P. Azzurro just picked up a Kandinsky. So how cool is that? And from a collector perspective, you could also argue it's good to diversify and not put everything in one basket. I am biased towards the digital because, when I own my own property, then maybe I'll have physical art. But until then, it's sort of like having physical art is as much of an encumbrance as a benefit in a lot of ways for me personally. Anyways, look at how beautiful this Kandinsky is too. And you know what I thought of when I saw this? And especially the violet here? Who does that remind you of? This kind of reminds me of Rosaceo here. So anyway, I keep saying it. So it's going to be a very difficult thing to stop, but I think it's actually a good advice, Mom. So continuing on, and I think I brought up, actually, let's quickly look at the Christie's. Allow all cookies. Okay, so it went for $252,000. So that is a lot of money, but it is interesting to think of in the context of the NFT scene. Because what does like a Dmitry Cherniak or the other, a Squiggle, I think a Squiggle is 10 ETH right now, so maybe that's $20,000. So it's still 10 Squiggles. But all to say, I think Bored Ape just went for like like $500,000 to maybe like $970,000. Sometimes the crypto scene, I think it's always good to actually have your eye out on the physical art world if you are a collector. I remember during the 2021 bull run when everything went insane in terms of digital art prices, I saw like Max Ernst painting, not a popular one, but I remember looking at a Sotheby's show, I think it was, and it was available for like $150,000. And I thought, considering what digital art's going for, and there was a Duchamp. I believe there was a Duchamp work for like 150, 200,000. And I thought, that seems pretty cheap relative to what I'm seeing in the digital art market. So, and there's the back. So very cool and rare. So I thought this was super interesting. So let me tell you why. What are you currently working on? Do you guys prefer works in progress or prefer to wait to show it till it's done? I like the works in progress, and I have something additional to say to this. So here, first of all, is rare, working in progress. It's beautiful, isn't it? And I have to say, there's something to be said for this version. Like this, green outline, the color. I mean, it's like this totally artificial digital color contrasted with this traditional painting. I have to say, I'd be curious to see what this composition looks like as a whole in its unfinished state here, because it's quite beautiful as an unfinished work. So I just like, that really just kind of caught my eye. I mean, you could have started the show with this piece, I say to myself. So anyways, I don't know if I'll ever cure myself of this rhetorical affliction of the so anyways, but I will try. I'm going to continue to try, and we shall see if we shall win at this game. Uyo66, GM friends. So just another physical work, and I thought pretty interesting. I mean, it looks like real paper, doesn't it? Here we can see the pencil. So it makes you wonder if Uyo66 starts with pencil. So more just physical work, and I kind of hope that Uyo66 does. And shout out, thanks for the comment, Uyo. I kind of hope that they do, because this is very sellable. And could you imagine if there was physical versions of some of Uyo66's work? I'm sure there are already. So interesting. Joao Salazar, just in the studio. I thought this was a cool studio shot, and we can sort of see, I love how this plasticine works here. It's put on a painting, what do you call these things? On an easel. It's put on an easel. And a great shot. I mean, this looks like a true artist shot here. There's some work in the background, the artist in the studio, and there's the plasticine kind of, dripping off, so to speak. So anyways, very cool. Also, Mick Renders, who was mentioning the collabs in the comments there. The Tezos community is the best. I'm still learning every day, but it felt a warm welcome and can't state enough how ready I am to show the world what I got. The talent amongst you all is insane. I see what this can be, and I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, I think this speaks for a lot of people. And I'm not sure if Mick Renders, how new Mick Renders might be to the community, but I think a lot of people, I'm extraordinarily grateful for really the NFT scene, but a lot of it, on Tezos. It's very grounded on Tezos because the prices aren't as crazy. So it's a little more, perhaps grounded, but I'm a fan of the whole digital art NFT scene and everything. And it's great to have real community as an artist, because it's actually surprisingly difficult to find. You wouldn't think so, but it's actually hard to find a supportive, fun, cool, talented community, and it's kind of all happening online. So I want to highlight this comment. Here's another example. So Lloyd, who, we've looked at Lloyd's work a while ago on Super Rare, and so maybe you're familiar, sells for a lot of money as big collectors. There's Vincent Van Gogh, right? 4,000, 6,000, 3,000, 7,000, right? So, and a lot of work, does very well. So Lloyd started on Object. We sold out. still speechless for all the good things that have been happening in my life today, and today another victory. Thank you all for the amazing support coming from this amazing community. I will always do my best no matter what the market situation is. I will always be here creating, exploring, and manifesting my visions. So kind of summing up this whole kind of news section here in one tweet here. So congratulations to Lloyd, and let's take a look. I'll show you. So here's the work. Show me how to play this. Lloyd's Genesis on Object. So this is the first and only piece Lloyd has put on Object, as far as I understand. So a kind of a skeletal figure here with Rubik's Cubes in it. It feels like AI. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe we can go, so just kind of an interesting dark piece and surrealism in the tags here. And let's just see if there's any more clues here. Artist and father. And let's again go to the super rare and just see if there are any clues. Digital artist. So not many clues here. Interesting. Here it looks like some digital photography. If this loads up on the tree. See this? Or at least some kind of, this looks photographic, shall we say. But who knows? And look at this. So a really interesting artist. So anyways, it's going to be very difficult to stop that habit. So this sold for 30 Tezos. And so an edition of 100. And I think that sold out amazingly. So that is 3,000 Tezos. So starting with a bang, it's probably on object.com's. Yeah, there it is, 3,573 for Lloyd's Object. So that is very impressive start to the journey on Object. There's Ezra Eslin. We're going to look at some of Ezra Eslin's in a second. Rosaceo, Who to Follow. So a new work by Rosaceo. I'm not sure if this is the monster. It is part of the Monstrum series. So almost like it's almost like action figures of a sort here. These characters made out of collage, a head of kind of as an eye, and almost like a Polaroid photograph as a Mac window and more. So anyways, classic Rosaceo, a little bit of animation in the background. The moon, this egg returns, and just kind of cool, almost like crustaceans, almost like crab legs or something, and then there's like octopus with an eye. So anyways, cool work by Rosaceo. Who to Follow, edition of 7, and transferred maybe to people in the community. I think Rosaceo might have a Discord, so it could be related to that too. Yuri J collaborating with Fake Whale, Octopomachy, desperate struggle between the octopuses, octopuses, and time. So let's see if we can find, I think the octopi are over here. And they almost look like cherubs with a little bow and arrows here. These like octopus cherubs. And anyways, there is a old camera, and there is a massive clock that looks like a door. So kind of a half representational, half abstract work with a lot of digital experimentation inside of it. You can see here the dragged brush, all sorts of stuff. And look at the arrows coming in from these kind of Cupid type figures here pointing at the clock, interestingly. So kind of a lot of big themes going in here. Love and time seem to be conflated here, hidden among the images here. So let's just see, and there's an offer, but nothing listed yet. An experimental piece by RJ. A digital collage of acrylic on canvas. So this looks like paint, and it has been put in this digital window here. The waves grew and crashed upon themselves, so maybe a description of the painted imagery. So a multimedia work, a photograph of painting that is inside this window here. So very conceptual. Sea Voices by RJ. And let's just see if this was listed. Edition of 1, and not listed for sale yet, I don't think. So interesting. Kappa Sage, Shine in Pain, Shine in the Clothes, Pain in the Eyes. And this is an edition of 20 for $430, and still a few available here. and always really ambitious compositions from Kappa Sage here. Really cool, like, it feels like the equivalent of kind of like modern, kind of like, it's like street art, but it's like street painting. Like there's a lot of the themes that you'd almost find in street art, but applied to digital painting to a certain degree. This is interesting too here, almost like the Louis Vuitton pattern and whatnot. There's always a ton going on, and it's always kind of edgy with Kappa Sage, and a lot of logos and everything. Cool work, great color, interesting composition as usual. So a few have sold here, quite a few have sold. So this is an edition of 20. I feel like, is this updated? Yeah, there are 3 left. There are only 3 left. This was interesting. Amanda Holman with the Women's Museum, Don't Call Me Baby. So a pretty nice work here. Nice, kind of surreal. Eyes in the roses here, and then a phone with kind of like the outline is kind of changed with the GIF, or is kind of, it's, the blue is not coordinated with the underneath. Kind of an interesting technique here. And it's this old rotary phone, so kind of retro tech, in a kind of, it almost feels like a Valentine's Day card of sorts, but then you have these roses here, and almost in a kind of water, it feels like here. So anyways, a lot going on here. And so 111 Tezos, it's an edition of 1. So there you go, Amanda Holman. Let's just see if we've looked at Amanda Holman before. Trying to remember, maybe. Let's see. Okay, so continuing on. Joni B with a really poetic work here, The Playground. Very poetic, sticking with Joni B's style here. And again, we're back to this idea of the static, this contrast between the dynamic and the static, between the moving and the still. And here, I think again, and what we've seen in other works that use this contrast or this technique is it really seems to just infuse importance and significance into the still areas. It kind of, for whatever reason, having this moving area adds significance to the still area, I would argue. Interesting composition here. Let me show it to you, not full screen, so you can see that, it's in the bottom right. So there's all this negative space here, which is maybe going according to Joni's idea here. The playground feels empty. In fact, it is. No one seems to feel like swinging at midnight. So maybe it's a swing at midnight. Very cool work. Only 22 Tezos for this edition of 1 of a Joni B. Joni B released couple of others too. I haven't seen a ton from Joni B that I've seen recently. Here's another one, the Boar and the Molotov cocktail with GM on it. So all available, 1 of 1s from Joni B. That's pretty cool. Ezra Eslin, edition of 20 for 20 Tezos each. Almost like what is this? Is this like an ad? It's got a pop feel to it. Are you sad? Drink, energy, ingredients, unhappiness, sadness, tears, your ex's blood, anxiety of living, depression, heartbreak. The best flavor, the most delicious. It feels like an ad, almost like a billboard, but with a lot of messaging on it, done with Ezra Eslin's trademark broken line style. This lines that are just kind of broken every so often, which really creates her trademark look. Interesting piece, Juice, digital art, illustration, and there are 8 left from Ezra Eslin, so very cool. It's not often you can buy these on primary. They usually go really quickly. And here's an edgy work by Turkarak, also kind of in the edgy illustration section. Should you put ice in your whiskey? And so here it looks like a drowned, girlfriend or wife or who knows, woman in this drink here. So I don't even know what's going on here, but it felt like kind of edgy and kind of feels like these works could hang together in the same show. Here's another illustration, Julie Rose, whose work we looked at a while ago, Crystal Spaceship. So just a cool illustration, edition of 10. and kind of interesting colors here, just kind of a semi-abstract work here. And so just cool illustration. Let's just look at Julie Rose quickly, because I'm sure we've looked at her work before. Just a cool illustrator here. A watercolor digital artist between galaxies. So anyways, that is Julie Rose. Cool, kind of surreal illustration. Elna Frederick, trademark style here, edition of 10. I thought this one was pretty cool. Again, using some sort of optical illusion to create the sense of movement. And so anyways, I really enjoyed the flowers here. So standard deck 91. And let's just see, these sold for 10 Tezos on primary. They sold out within like 2 minutes here, impressively. So that is impressive. And so now it's available for $26.90 on secondary. Haiti Rocket with a new abstract using, what was that software called again? Brilliance 2.0, Memory Breaking, really cool title. Amiga 1200, Photoshop. So here is another work with a lot of dithering and just digital fun going on here, cycling gradients and more. So really just playing with the software. Really cool work, Memory Breaking, available on, I think, primary here. 5 left at 37 Tezos. Check this out. I was tempted to start with this because we've discussed this before. This idea, this is Kappa. Curo is the name, so maybe that's a bird, maybe it's something else. Technically, I'm excited by this process here because what it looks like to me, and I could be totally wrong as far as how Kappa made this, but what it looks like to me is 2 different canvas sizes put on top of each other, because here you have what looks like really big blocks, with a smaller canvas size. Let's say this is like, I don't know, 40 by 40, and then maybe this underneath with the smaller pixels is maybe a 80 or 100 by 100. And then so you can take one layer, put it on the other, stretch it with no issues or artifacts, and you start getting super interesting results. I have no idea if this is how it was made, but that is a way you can kind of get these kind of results. So super interesting from Kappa. Very, 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 very interesting, at least from over here. Another just cool work by Kappa, just playing with dithering here, and it looks like an eye or a sun or something. Circles. No title, no clues, and it looks like an eye. It looks like an eye according to what Kappa is saying here. Kind of reminiscent of that Magritte. Should we look at Magritte quickly? Magritte eye. Yeah, I mean, kind of one could argue, at least it's in the same style. Like, who knows if there was a direct influence, but a similar composition, we could say, between this and, let's see if we can load it. And this, in the same province, we could say. And here's another, Tezos Art Collective is getting artists to do signatures, and I thought Kappa's is pretty awesome. So very fun, very cool. And you know what it looks like? I think we're back to this larger canvas, like stretching out this pixel art, reusing pixel art, because this looks like something from plants. This looks like some of the psychedelic kind of imagery we see in plants that's being masked here, but then extended. And we have the same thing going on here. In this, we have these larger pixels contrasting with these smaller pixels. Very powerful, isn't it? Like, it really just invigorates this whole image with these different pixel sizes. It's a simple thing, but it's sometimes the simplest things are the most profound. It's simple innovation. So very exciting. This is from Acme, if I'm pronouncing that right. Just a cool abstract. And I think Acme has put out several like classic kind of works on object of these just kind of beautiful, pixel art. Sometimes they're representational, I think. Here's Remy Forte, and of course Remy uses code to make some of her abstracts. This artwork was generated by a Python script I designed, PNG file made in my studio in Lyon, France. So 5 Tezos here. So interesting. I think we were seeing Remy work, remember with the pen plotter? So, and this is the thing. Like, imagine what this would look like. These kind of, basic digital shapes here, once you start pen plotting, all of a sudden you get the accidental of the physical entering, the randomness of the physical, instant contrast, and it starts to look really great. So it's really interesting going to the physical, using the digital as a starting point, and then you use these pen plotters to get back to the physical, to make physical work that frankly was not possible without machine, in other words, the pen plotter, or without, theoretically you could make this on graph paper, but this was made with code, so digitally made abstraction. So this traveling back to the physical, starting with the digital, I think is super interesting. More jokes from Sabato. The market may be bare, but the crown is bullish with spry vigor. What words of wisdom will the newest legendary king and consort.eth offer us peasant artists? So Sabato is off on a limb here. When more frog, so more Pepe reference perhaps. So almost like, and again, even like the way this is done kind of feels like a cartoon a little bit. This kind of edgy painting too. I mean, and I also like this, and maybe Sabato would laugh that I'm even showing this work, because maybe it's just a joke, but I actually really enjoy what's going on, and I suspect Sabato does as well. Look at all this great noise in the background here, and again, look at this. Remember we were discussing how if you want instant poetry, put the background first and then put the outline over top? I mean, to a certain degree, we see a little bit of that here, where the background and then just put some lines over top. They don't need to match. And so it's looking really good over here and just kind of funny from Sabato. So, and kind of mysterious. I mean, I don't know where Sabato is going with that, but I kind of love it at the same time. Guandanarian was a super small, minimal pixel artwork. Very cool. So interesting to see. Now, just for our reference here, Guandanarian, we've seen pixel art from Guandanarian before. Let me quickly see if I can bring this up. Yeah. Okay, object and Guandanarian. Yeah, works like this. So just cool abstraction here. So a nice kind of minimal piece. There we go. And then, of course, kind of in the Pixel Art Factory style. So here's some Guandanarian. And of course, we looked at this self-portrait for people of Tezos, which was awesome. Very cool. Here's a new artist, Mayu. Insert coin, classic arcade game where players must insert coins into a machine and use a joystick and buttons to control, play, or die. So a skeleton basically playing an old arcade game. So pretty cool, edition of 20. And there they are, 3 Tezos, and looks like it's sold out. So a nice start at 50 cents each. And now there's Mick Renders there, Gogolitis, Shilly Preston. Yeah, so awesome. So cool work. And again, Mayu is new. So a nice welcoming over here at from the community there, just sold out on your first drop. That is awesome. The Cobbler by Tombow Battle. So a new work by Tombow Battle, endlessly experimenting with content and with the themes and everything. So now his character is a cobbler putting together shoes, and there we see some sci-fi machinery and some just really nice animation there, especially up here with this kind of robotic arm. So it continues. Love this too. See these pixels in the background here? That is awesome. And even the little mouse. Okay, so anyways. Great. 8 Tezos, 90 on secondary. And let's just look. 7 Tezos on primary, sold out. So nice work from Tombow Battle. Zach Lloyd. So a different work from Zach Lloyd here. And let me speed things up a bit here. So this was interesting. Lonely Tower. Kind of a Windows interface here. Almost similar to what we were seeing with RJ. And then just different weather. I'm going to speed it up a bit because it is a minute. And so just to give you a feeling for it. And then we have a clock up there, the stars, like the rating, some money. So just mysterious work from Zach Lloyd. Lonely Tower, Tourist Season 23 by 1 of 1 for 33 Tezos. This was cool too, Curio Fringe. Look at this. very experimental and cool. Again, reminds me of like Hasdrubal waffle, where we're getting the spray, but it's almost like dithered, the spray paint here. There's almost like, if you look up close, you can see a little bit of dithering, and then that contrasted with like a big kind of chunky background. Again, different, but it could hang in the same show as some Hasdrubal waffle pieces, right? And would really complement it. I think really cool work. 5,000 views, not bad at all. Good morning. So that's Curio Fringe. Very cool. Here was an interesting, I think this is a glitch. Bloom.raw, Shepperton, French glitch artist making videos and breaking them with code. So I think you'd call this data bending, if that's what's going on here. And so this is just basically a cool glitch abstract by Shepperton. And that is on Twitter. And continuing on, DJ Curo with a cool work here. Let's see if we can load this up. Just a cool minimal work here with a little bit of a glitch, kind of a really nice warm quality to the pixels here. Warm color and just a warm feeling overall. So let's see if there's a title. Almost feels like a De Curico kind of still life here. A1, umpteen billion years, Big Bang, supernova gas, brief eclipse of time. So cool glitch from DJ Curo, 3 left at 3 Tezos. Small edition. LBIO364 using physical hardware here. And this is an edition of 15. I wonder if this is 800 by 600 as well. So interesting kind of combination, interesting abstract in a sense, a glitch abstract, shall we say. 15 left, so none have sold so far if this is updated. So I think just released this morning though, so work from LB available. Too late to say goodbye, John Cates with a really nice kind of cowboy piece. Again, another glitch artist, and I wonder if John Cates says how this is made. No, but maybe AI art, mechanical interventions, glitch art, be AI glitch Western. Anyways, really nice piece here from John Cates. Great color, just great composition, just cool and fun. So it's AI, this is a 101. Let's just see what it sold for. Just transferred to Inavare. Very cool, and Native Ed with a cool work. It's got me thinking, based on CCO board fauna statue. So I think that's a famous statue of like a pan-like figure. But put in this kind of Tron-like backdrop with some even big pixels in the background that you can kind of half see, and this interesting door. Cool work by Native Ed. Got to speed through the rest here. Kramer and Mick Renders. Mick Renders again in the program here. So cool work here. Again, this is like a CGI type of thing. Just really interesting and kind of surreal. Entering portals with Mick Renders, Computer Landscape 07. Remember, we were seeing the screen prints of these works. So they're collaborating with Mick Renders. Venta, Bed of Leaves, Venta times AI. Just another really interesting, beautiful AI work by Venta. So really interesting and cool. Kind of has a plasticine feeling to it, doesn't it? Edition of 10, 9 left at 8 Tezos each. Nice blue. This blue is not like, it's not flat, interestingly. Very nice work. And Strange Thing. Made in AI. This is on Instagram. And I wonder if we have 2,744 likes here so far. And here is, so playing with jewelry. It looks like diamonds. And almost these like Venetian masks somewhat, but just different kinds of masks. Let's see if there's anything. Renaissance head ornaments revival. So very cool. I mean, look at this. Look at the innovation. Look at how many fashion innovations has Strange Thing come up with in the last 6 months. Like, Vogue Italia, to their credit, have finally like come to the party and said, like, this guy, we have to pay attention to this guy. It's pretty, like, I mean, it's just innovation every day using AI. Harnessing the power of AI, the digital assistant, it just kind of takes your talent and can multiply it by 10 properly harnessed. With me always, but not my friend. Introvoid. So here's, I think Lily Illo actually posted on this. So this is an AI work, I believe, and just beautiful drips here. I mean, some of the most great, like I'm loving the painterly aspect of AI. It's creating these beautiful drips. So like and here it is, just another example, cool composition here from Introvoid, With Me Always But Not My Friend, by for 10 Tezos, 7 left. That is on Object. And here's just other work by Introvoid. And I think I brought up another one here. Let's just see if it loads. Here it is. And kind of painterly, digital painting and AI, huge file. Santiago-esque file here. And so anyways, just digital painting and AI from Introvoid, the companions. That is from April 20th. And here's just another one from Stephen Schwartzer. I liked how this is more of a, you can see he's experimenting with these different kind of, almost like collage here. He's experimenting with structure in the work here. And here we almost see like a physical version of the Photoshop canvas, which really creates a beautiful black and white neutral contrast with all the color that's going around. Just a really cool artist. And look at Dan Control, Old Gradients. So this is an old painting, I believe, by Dan Control. This is a beautiful painting, isn't it? Like, I mean, a beautifully painted Dan. And what's funny is I'd never guess that this was Dan Control. You know, it's like he took his concept of the gradients and ran with it in digital, but I mean, this is a great painting. So that is cool. Would love to see more. Jean Cesis, good morning, with a new Tezos mint. Graphite charcoal drawing, so another physical work here. And just a cool kind of semi-abstract work by Jean Cesis. Looks like there's some mouths and ears and eyes sort of in here. So semi-abstract, almost like a face upside down here, stretched out. Playing with stuffs. Geography is the name of the work. Cool title. And that is your show, my friends. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, take care. Maybe I'll see you on Twitter Spaces. Join us and Daniel W. and Rune Tune. Until next time, take care.